Hello everyone and welcome to this very special conversation. I'm coming to you live from this special setup at CII. Budget 2026 comes at a very interesting moment when India is being watched closely because of the macroeconomic numbers which are good at home, but there are global uncertainties outside. So growth, fiscal discipline, jobs, innovation and competitiveness are all under the scanner. So over the next 1 hour, I'm going to talk to the industry titans and those who will give you a sense of the big takeaways and also the challenges post this budget. To my left is the politicians first. Syed Nasir Hussain is a member of Parliament of the Congress Party. GVL Narasimha Rao is a former member of the Standing Committee on Finance and former MP of the BJP. Then is Dr. Naresh Trehan, Managing Director of Medanta, followed by Lakshmi Venkatraman, Founding and Managing Trustee of BYST. On my right is Rajiv Memani, President of CII, followed by Dr. Suchitra Ella, Vice President CII and also Co-Founder and Managing Director of Bharat Biotech International Limited. Mr. B. Thiagarajan is Chairman CII Trade Fairs and Council, and Mr. Arun Ramchandani, President SIDM and Chairman of L&T MBDA Missile Systems. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Memani. Industry has been waiting for clear signals from the budget. Does budget 2026 do enough to revive the investor confidence?
I would say the investor confidence is there. So economy is doing very well. We have massive global uncertainties, but in spite of that, I think the Indian economy is doing very well. And private sector is investing because that's the normal thing, is that private sector is not investing. I think if you look at balance sheet after balance sheet, private sector is investing. But coming to your question on budget, I think it gives a very clear direction. Firstly, there is an element of continuity. They have operated within the fiscal discipline that is very important for the long-term growth and ensuring that India meets its Viksit Bharat strategic objectives. Very strong focus on manufacturing, which is very, very important, on infrastructure, which is very, very important. And I think they've kept a thrust on some of the emerging sectors that are coming. So whether it's rare earth, whether that's nuclear, whether it's MROs, whether it's data centers, and they've provided what are structural long-term benefits for that. Okay. So they have provided fiscal they have made the changes that are required to ensure that the investments in these areas, in the newer sectors that are emerging, including semiconductors, they further get catalyzed. And I would say finally, just to close, on areas like electronics manufacturing and some of the service sector, labor-intensive sectors like textiles and others, I think there is a lot that is there in the budget.
Okay, Dr. Trehan, come in now, because healthcare is often discussed emotionally. In budget, is there enough, would you say, to see healthcare as an economic investment?
So, if you look at it, the direct issue, directing the different parts of the budgetary allocations has not happened, and maybe it'll clarify in the next few days. But on the peripheral side, huge number of issues have been addressed, which were vital for healthcare of the nation, no question. So, you starting with the points of, as a macro policy, a committee to be set up to look at education, skills and employment as a continuum, which by itself makes it possible for the policy decisions to be seamless. Okay. Second comes, and also very important in this moment where AI is taking over a huge number of jobs, and skilling for those jobs and also for the healthcare sector, which is continuing to be one of the largest employers after agriculture of human capital, will be served well by this kind of planning and execution in the future. The second is that there was a lot of emphasis from, India always suffered from a dual burden of communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. Fortunately, the communicated diseases, the curve has come down for the reason that better sanitation, better quality of water being provided to people, and also toilets and things like that, that has made a difference. But at the same time, the NCDs, as we call non-communicable diseases, they are galloping. the cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, they are actually rampaging through our society today, and not even sparing any strata of society, which is the also very sort of worrisome part of it. So from that point of view, encouraging the biopharma industry by the mission that they have made with 10,000 crores allocation will go a long way in transforming the biopharma industry from just being a pharmacy to the world by producing generics to maybe more sort of frontier looking research where new molecules can be developed in the bio field. So that's one other factor which is going to help the NCDs. Third is to address the cancer issue.
That's right.
17 drugs have been exempt from customs, which is going to help a lot of people. So that's people looking. Also 7 rare diseases, the custom duty on that. So as you filter down, a lot of this stuff is now going to public facing from policy decision, like public facing, like incorporating Ayurveda and modern medicine into wellness centers at the grassroots levels. Again, encouraging the formation of tier 3 healthcare delivery systems. So I think all this is very positive in the right direction, and also addressing mental health.
Yes, that's
and also the aging population are the other 2 very important factors.
You know, Dr. Ella, this essential thought about innovation and self-reliance, we have been speaking a lot, particularly in post-pandemic world that we are living in. Does Budget 2026 then back innovation with money and policy?
Of course, it will definitely send a very strong message to the global community out there, because our competition for us, commercially may happen within our country's borders in terms of our marketing and, other commercial aspects. But when it comes to technology, when it comes to product development, when it comes to clinical research, when it comes to process platforms, technology platforms, we always look up to the developed world for getting these kinds of inputs and essential, sometimes even to the extent of consumables and so on and so forth. India has been lucky in the sense that though we are, we have been extremely good in, bringing generic medication available at very affordable costs, but at the same time, and we have done extremely well in vaccines and biotechnology, biotherapeutic molecules, many indigenously developed. The pandemic was a great example of how we could service a billion population with 2 billion doses of vaccine, and probably the third dose would have been the 3 billion doses of vaccine. So this is something, not any other country has come close to this kind of numbers. So it goes to show that our fundamentals are strong. India's US FDA plants are 75 and above. It's the highest after the United States. So that goes to show that the active APIs that we do, the active pharma ingredients that are manufactured, the bulk drug that is manufactured here, all of them come out of these US FDA plants. Our vaccines are WHO approved, accredited facilities, which means that we can service the world, supply to the world. The next level is in where this kind of a thrust would come and start pushing us towards is that in vaccines we have brought new technologies, indigenously developed and marketed, and of course distributed to the rest of the world, to more than 150 countries, that we already do. But what we need to crack in is those new molecules, especially in the areas as Dr. Trehan had mentioned, in the NCDs, where we need in cancer therapies, in therapies for diabetes, in therapies for autoimmune disorders and so on and so forth, where we need to crack that curve, which we have not yet. So I'm sure this kind of a thrust and focus will enable the biopharma industry sector to go on to those levels of research, technology building, and eventually manufacturing.
Take a quick word also from the politicians before I go back to the industry voices that I have on this panel. Dr. Nasir Hussain, The opposition has often said, and the reaction which came post-budget was, many would say, on expected lines. Mamata Banerjee dismissing the budget, so was other opposition leaders, that they do not have much expectation, and according to them, the budget did not deliver on their expectations. Mamata Banerjee says that there is nothing in particular for Bengal. Similar point has been made by other Congress or opposition ruled states as well. My question then is, the government, and you heard from the industry voices, they are of the opinion that the direction of this budget is right.
See, there are lots of expectation from the countrymen, from the people of this country, especially in the background of wars, negative economic growth worldwide, tariff regime by the US government, falling rupee. So we thought there will be focus, there will be direction, there will be vision, there will be outlays, there will be plan for investment coming in, there will be plan for exports growing. There's nothing in this. What about the rural economy? Where is the plan for the employment growth? There's so many things that needed clarity and needed to be spelled out. That is not there. That's the reason why we are saying there's no direction. Hollow slogans, shiny schemes, outlays broken into tits and bits. Where is the money for the school education, quality school education, when you speak about education? What about the affordable higher education? What about agriculture? Nothing for farmers. No mention of Manrega. Then farmers needed protection, especially in terms of MSP, especially in terms of different schemes for them. There's nothing there. So the whole argument by the opposition, by the Congress party, by the entire opposition is, where is the focus, where is the direction, where is the issue? On the people, in real terms.
GVL.
The entire focus of this budget is to build on the successes in the last 10, 11 years.
So this is a budget of continuity or consolidation?
It's a budget for a takeoff. Honorable Prime Minister,
budget, okay.
we are already the largest growing, fastest growing large economy in the world. From a fragile 5, Rahul Gandhi must go back to the headlines of 2014. We were considered to be one of the 5 weakest economies in the world. Today, we are the 4th largest economy in the world. Our we are able to achieve this, achieve growth, and at the same time maintain very much fundamentals of the economy. Fiscal deficit is down. Debt to GDP ratio, the target is to bring it to 50% of the GDP. We are able to achieve macroeconomic successes. Inflation is at its lowest. You've seen how whenever Congress came to power, if you look at the average growth, average inflation rate during Congress regimes, it will be 3 to 4 times higher than what it is during BJP regime. So the real growth that happens during the BJP years is certainly something that people can experience. The economic survey talked about how the real expenditure, how public expenditure has increased and how the inflation levels have gone down. Okay. So we have been able to deliver on lower taxes. The GST, lowering of GST rates has increased capacity of the people to spend. I think we are in a very positive environment today. In all the debates I have been in since morning, I find happy faces.
Okay, happy
faces. This was not the case in the past.
Lakshmi Venkatraman, are you happy as well, or are you of the opinion that
I can see a smile on their faces.
In fact, Professor Gaurav Vallabh will also be joining me shortly. Please go ahead.
You began by saying that the big picture is good. It is indeed good, as we just heard from the speakers before me. But what is interesting is that it's been an inclusive budget because of the focus that has been paid on MSMEs, and people actually talked about micros not once but many times. It was also called a Yuva Shakti oriented budget. So the fact that 10,000 crores was given to MSMEs, the fact that 2,000 crores was allocated for a self-reliant fund, particularly for micros, goes a long way because we have a 30 lakh crore credit gap in the MSME sector. So I think this is very welcome. Also, I think a lot of focus has been placed on employment generation sectors, whether it's handicrafts and handlooms, whether it's textiles. And they also are talking about introducing technology for the 200 clusters, for the legacy clusters in order to enable them to catch up. So there were a lot of good aspects of it.
Yes.
The challenge here is how much of it is really going to affect the women who are also at the bottom of the pyramid.
Okay.